Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's special broadcast. We have Ernie Vargas, the Probate Fox, Bill Allen from Seven Figure Flipping, and myself from Lead Fusion. Thanks for joining us today. We got a great topic, actually. We brought Bill on specially to talk about raising money, especially during COVID. What's going on with how to do it. Is it any different in terms of raising money? So for those of you that are joining us, I think it's going to be just a great talk about it. But first off, those that are joining us and want to put some comments in during our broadcasts, this is going to be a little bit different than the ones that we normally do. This is going to be a little bit longer. Definitely go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so that when you put in comments, we can see who it is and it'll appear for us. So if you have any questions during the broadcast here, you'll be able to do that. And of course, always subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can. We'll put the links down in the comments as well for you to do that. But welcome, Ernie and Bill, to the broadcast here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Bill, why don't you go a little bit? They kind of know who Ernie and I are, right, from all our broadcasts. So why don't you go a little bit about yourself, what you do, and I guess talk a little bit about 7FF and so maybe even an event that you have coming up.
Sure. My name is Bill Allen. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I have a military background. I was in the Navy, flew helicopters and airplanes for the Navy for a long time, and I got into the real estate business. I got in as a landlord, and then I started flipping. I kind of accidentally, my real estate agent said, you could flip, resell this house and make some money. I ended up making $43,000, like half of the income that I made for the year. So that feels really good. I'd like to do that again. And so I was flipping like one house a year while I was active duty and flying full time. And then I actually joined this 7-figure flipping group that I heard. I was on the call yesterday with you guys, Rob. You were talking about it a bit. And I joined that mastermind group when it first started. And I was one of the kind of early success stories, I guess, of that group, of growing, having a full-time job and growing a business around a full-time job in flipping and wholesaling houses. And so we did 67 transactions the first year, did 135 the next year, 187 the year after that. And I won't say that the number of transactions that you do is really important, but it was $1 million business after a couple of years. And I was able to leave active duty and go into real estate full time. And I have a company right now. We're in the Southeast. We kind of virtually wholesale in the Southeast around kind of Nashville, Chattanooga, Pensacola, Florida, and some other cities around there, Huntsville, Alabama, some areas in Kentucky. And we do about the same, maybe 150 to 160 transactions a year. They're not huge deals like $100,000 plus assignment fees or flips or anything like that. So we do more of them. So that number might make sense. Mm-hmm. And that's what that business looks like. I have a COO named Nate who runs that company. It's an amazing group of people. And then I ended up buying the 7-figure flipping company from my mentor, Justin Williams, a little over a year ago. So July 2019, I actually was the COO of the company. And when he was ready to do something else, he kind of floated the idea of buying it. I said no reluctantly in the beginning. We kept kind of talking a little bit, and a couple days later, I said, "All right, you got me. Let's do it." And I've been running. Basically, I've been spending my time in that company full time since July 1st of 2019. I was already spending a ton of time there, but I kind of changed a couple things. You mentioned the event Flip Hacking Live. I ran the first Flip Hacking Live that was mine last year in San Diego, and then we have a second event coming up soon. So it's a mastermind company. It's a group of I'm building a community of other real estate investors that want to work together to grow themselves personally and professionally is the way I look at it. Like we have a great group of people that are looking to, number one, be vulnerable, be honest, be open. And it's not just about doing 150 or 200 deals a year. It's about like, how are we getting better in our life with our families, with what we want to do, our purpose and passion in life, as well as in real estate business. It just happens to be wholesalers and flippers. Like that's the people that we serve. And not that there's anything wrong with the multifamily folks, the land developers, the Airbnb, all that stuff. It's just we need to focus, and that's what we're focused on. So that's what that community looks like, and that's kind of what I do.
Yeah. And Bill, as you know, I've been in seven figures since the beginning, right? And it's definitely changed my life. I mentioned that on the broadcast yesterday in terms of what it's done for me, not only, as a wholesaler, as a flipper, right? And I've gone through that whole thing, and now I have rental properties as well, right? So I've accumulated a ton of wealth just from, being in that group. And really, it's not so much that you're going to be handheld through the whole process, but, every meeting that I go to, every event that I go to, there's always this aha moment that I was trying to think about, what happens, right? And there's always these aha moments that almost kind of unlock something in your brain, right? And that allows you to kind of take the next step and go to the next level, whether it's wholesaling or flipping or building a rental portfolio or really whatever. The community that you've built, over the years is second to none in terms of the people that are just willing to give, right? And I think that's how you became the CEO, right, of 7FF, was that you were always so willing to give and talk about your experiences in the group that Justin said, well, this guy's doing a lot for me already. I want to make him my CEO because he's really done so much for the group, right? And not to say, though, that, even it's focused on wholesaling and flipping, there are special interest groups in there. There's multifamily, which I belong to, right? So that even if you have those other things that you want to get into, that's there, right? So anyways, 7FF can't say enough, obviously, about it, but people want to know about raising money, too. So, you had a special challenge in that whole group, or as a part of it, of people going out and raising money. So tell me how raising money might be more difficult or easier during COVID-19, this pandemic that we're going through. How is that being affected?
Yeah, well, so before I answer that specific question, I want to zoom out a little bit and just because I think the mindset shift that needs to happen for anybody that listens to this, watches right now, at any time, needs to understand that, what are you looking to do here? Because people think that they're going out and getting a loan from someone, like they're going to ask for a favor from people that I see, especially in the early phases of raising money. And what you have to realize is that you're providing an opportunity. Like, you actually have something incredibly valuable in a deal. Like that deal that you have, you work so hard to get it. You work with a seller, you negotiate. It might take you like 6 months. Like, I've heard some of Ernie's stories, right? Of these, it might take him like a year to get this thing sorted out, right? And you spend so much time working on this transaction, working on this deal, negotiating with the seller. You're sharpening your pencil as sharp as it goes. And then you go to the lender and you're like, I got this deal, like, what can I pay you to give me your money, right? And you don't really value it to the same point with a lender that you do with the sellers and everybody else that you're doing business with. You basically kind of just lay down for the lender. You're like, oh, at 2 points and 15%, thank goodness somebody's going to fund me. Like, I don't know anybody with money. So what you need to realize is that opportunity that you've come across, you have a unique skill set that put that deal together. That's the opportunity that the lender needs. Like, the lender needs you more than you need them. And there's a lot more money out there than there is opportunities and deals right now in today's market, for sure, right? So if you think about it like that, you will change every conversation that you have with lenders. You'll walk in there more confident. You'll realize the fact that, like, they need you more than you need them, and you can just go to the next person if you have a really good deal. And that's the way that you need to think about this stuff. And I know it's hard in the beginning when you're like, I don't even know anybody with $100,000, let alone $250 to fund this deal, right? But just understanding that concept first is going to change things. Like, I didn't realize that in the beginning, and I was just kind of like, oh, you lend money? Like, let's talk. You have some money? Let's talk. Like, just go grasping for straws, looking for money, instead of realizing that it's an opportunity that I'm providing for them, and it needs to be a win-win. Just like with the seller, you got to provide the win-win. It's almost like flipping the script on the conversations that you have with the seller. We don't negotiate with our lenders. We don't, I don't know. It's not necessarily a sales process, but there's a process that you go through to get, the cheaper that you can get money, the better returns that you can make. So it's really important to get, like, if you had an unlimited amount of money at 5% right now, how happy would we all be, right? I got $100 million at 5%. Like, I could make a ton of money in this market.
Rental portfolio I could have right now. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think that's the first step that needs to happen. And from there, once you make that shift in the way that you think, then you can start going over to wondering like, well, how does this marketplace affect how I raise money? But I wouldn't even start to ask that question until you ask, like, what is the frame of mind that you have about money, about other people with money, and about your opportunity and what you're adding to that transaction? Like, you're adding so much value to the marketplace right now. It's a seller's market right now. So getting those deals, that's the hardest part. And you've done it. And now you're going to go give up a lot of the profits and proceeds to just anybody, whether it's a hard money lender, a private money lender, or somebody that you met at a RIA, and instead of really cultivating those relationships. And that's the second piece, is it's really relationship lending that I do and I focus on. And it's building a relationship with someone, making sure it's a win-win, and then providing them with the opportunity. So there's this ecosystem that they're involved in where they feel like they're a part of it. So the next step is saying, okay, well, who am I actually going to target? And one thing we talk about, you mentioned that challenge, Rob, I feel like there's three very distinct buckets of people that are out there. And that first bucket is like friends, family, warm network, people that you already know, like, and trust you, right? So if you're a new investor and you're just getting started, never done a deal before, it's probably the only bucket that you're going to be able to fish out of, because they have to know, like, and trust you before they're going to, like, they're betting on you, not the fact that you have a bunch of experience in real estate and you showing them this huge portfolio. Now, those people that know, like, and trust you, those are probably people that might not necessarily be like lending in real estate loans right now yet, right? And they're probably also not really savvy investors. They might be. If they are, I'd probably put them in the second bucket, but they're probably not, like, I don't know, day trading stocks or really heavy in the market, or they're probably the kind of folks who might have money in a bank account, money in a CD. Maybe they have some stock portfolio, but somebody else manages it. They can't tell you what kind of returns they get exactly. They don't know what an expense ratio is. They don't know what a prospectus looks like. They don't know any of that stuff, right? That's kind of that first bucket. Maybe like unsophisticated investor, friends, family, people who are just getting like a fixed return right now, money in the bank, don't even know they can use their IRA and 401k with anything other than the stock market. Then you got that middle investor. You got that middle person who is already investing, is probably making somewhere around 8 to 10%. If they think they're making 8 to 10% in the stock market, right, over a long period of time. And then you got the third person, who that third bucket is like people that are already investing in real estate loans. They're doing hard money loans. They're at a RIA meeting. They're doing loans on a regular basis. They know what points are, right? The first and second investor probably doesn't even know what a point is. If you ask them, like, what kind of points do they charge, they'll look at you like you're crazy. And so that third person is already investing. So the speed at which you get money changes here, and the amount of money and the time that it takes to build those relationships changes. The person who's already lending, right? Like Ernie and Rob, you guys know, we go to these RIA meetings and it's this hard money lender and he's just like, show me the deal. I'll run the numbers. And if it works, here's my rates, right? Sign this paperwork. I can get you the money in a couple days. And then the middle person is like, well, I'm going to move my money from the stock market. You got to tell me what's going on, but they're a little bit savvier. They move a little bit faster. And then the people who are making 1% or 0.5% on money market account are like, that 5%, that sounds really risky. Like, it's going to take me some time to get involved in it. So all of these people and areas that you're looking at doing, that's like the next step, because all of those people feel differently right now in this COVID time. So I think to answer the question you asked first, you first have to understand your mindset around it. The second, you need to understand your sphere of influence and the people that you're around right now and who you have in all these buckets. And then the third step is now you can say, okay, let's start answering this question. How do those different people in those three buckets feel right now? Because everybody feels a little bit different. And I actually think if you ask me this question, is it easier or harder to raise money during COVID-19 in March and April? I would say I think it's a little bit harder because the stock market was tanking. It was tanking hard, right? And when that happens, it's not the fact that anybody has any different amount of money in their bank account. Like they can look at their portfolio and say it's down, but they feel a certain way, right? It's like it's paperwork money, right?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Rob?
They go into survival mode a little bit, right? You know, when people, when they start seeing the stock market go down, there's this unconscious, thing in the back of their mind that says, ooh, I got to go into survival mode. I'm going to start hoarding my money, right? I got to last 6 months. I don't know how long this thing is going to last, right? But yeah, then people kind of get over that fear a little bit. People get back to, going out or are doing stuff, and that fear starts to go away. But I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think the answer comes down to volatility, right? It's like it's extremely volatile at that point. And some people look at it and go, I just lost 30% of my net worth in a week or 2 weeks, right? And that's all they see is this paper loss, right? And even though you can talk to somebody and they say, I'm in it for the long haul, I don't care. They care. Like they're watching it every single day, and they're losing some sleep, and they're starting to feel stress, and there's a lot of other pressures that are happening. So I think during that time, the interesting thing that I did I feel like I'm a professional capital raiser. Like my job is to raise capital professionally. Like that's one of my jobs, right? And so in that, I'm always thinking about raising money. I'm always thinking about how does this affect and change my messaging and what I do and how I'm raising capital. And during that time, right then, I said, I can't ask, like, I'm not going out promoting the fact that they should sell their stocks and move it into real estate. You just can't do it. If my grandmother called me and said, what do you think I should do? The last thing that I would say is sell your stocks, right? Like, no, absolutely not. Don't do that. And everybody's IRAs, 401ks, their money is in the stock market. Now, if they had money sitting on the sidelines, the other thing that they're probably thinking about doing if they're a stock investor is buying more stock, right? Because it's down 30, 35%. And so I can't even play in that arena right now. So what I did instead, and you can't really turn back the clock, but I will give you a tip of something that you can do right now, is I sent out an email about our investors, and I sent out like a market update and a company update to not just my investors that are actively investing, but everybody who's considered investing with me in the past that has had conversations with me, and I know their money's still in the stock market. And I didn't say, oh, the stock market's tanking, you should have invested with us. What I said was, let me give you an update about our company and how we're doing and how I think this is going to affect us. I included some resources, some podcasts, some different things that I had. And I talked about like how, and everybody's blind CC'd, right? But I just said investment team. And hopefully everybody's not listening to this, but this is what I did. And now you know. But it's like, it's a market update. And so they can see what's happening, what's going on in my company, how I'm doing, I'm communicating. And they're kind of like, man, I wish that 3 months ago, 6 months ago, I took his advice and I moved out of the stock market and moved over to the company and started investing in deals, right? And so those people that were on the fence now are starting to think about that, because I know that this ball is going to drop and it's going to bounce back up at some point, right?
Right.
And so I was planting that seed then, and I think you can still do some of this. Obviously, you're not going to send an email with the same feeling that mine had. But what happened 3 months later? Sure enough, this thing bounced back up. And now I can say, hey, how did you feel over these last 3 months? And do you want to feel like that again? Or would you prefer a fixed return with something that's backed with real estate? And so it's like you're planting the seed, you're watering it for a couple months. Once it comes back, you're like, okay. And so then what happened is people said, okay, hey, my stocks are back up to where they were. I'm ready to move out of that. I'm ready to transition my IRA over to real estate, and let's have a conversation about it. And so I think, I don't know if it was, it was fully planned to have that conversation. By no means was I saying, sell your stocks right now. I even said it in there. I was like, hey, if you were thinking about getting out of the stock market before we were having that conversation, I don't think now is a good time. We can have that conversation in the future and stuff like that. And then they see me as somebody that is giving them like sound advice. I wouldn't do that with my money. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. And I saw a lot of people on social media and other places go, get out, like sell your stocks, like it's down 25%, but now's the time to move over to real estate. Why didn't you do this earlier? It's like, what kind of marketing is that? Like you're beating people over the head, telling them that they made a mistake. Just tell them you're going to be there for them when they're ready. And then what happened was I was able to set up a call for this last multifamily deal we did. And we needed like 850, 900,000. We raised like almost $1.5 million in an hour. And it's because people were just hungry and ready for something other than the stock market right then. Right. But that was preparation, right? It wasn't just like, oh, hey, I got this deal over here. Anybody want to get on this call? It was the fact that I only emailed 100 people, 24 people showed up, or 24 people signed up, 20 people showed up, and 16 invested. So it was like, and the other ones, we just didn't have room for them. They just couldn't. So then we put them in the next deal. So I think this time of COVID-19, I think the biggest thing is uncertainty that you can use in the money raising game. And same with sellers. Like distress is up, right? And when distress is up, business for us is good. It's not opportunistic. It's just the fact that that's what we deal in. Yeah. And with the money side of it is, I think it's a great time to raise money. I mean, I think we should always be raising money, but I think people want something that is more secure, they feel more comfortable with, and they don't get the ups and downs. I think what I play in the stock market side is you don't have the ups and downs that come with this. Like if you don't have to deal with that, like how did you feel? So my tip for anybody now who missed that train, that planting that seed, is now send an email out and say, hey, like, how did it feel during all that time, this uncertainty, can you believe that like just something like that can affect these companies and your money so much? Mm-hmm. And tell them what you're doing to prepare for this. Like, how can you make a return on their money? How are you a good investment in your company and these houses and what you're doing, a good investment? And if it's a more sound investment than where they're at right now, they'll move. And so I think that's the recommendation I'll use is kind of leverage off of the pain and uncertainty and ups and downs that they were feeling because it's fresh. And it's not, I don't think it's manipulative or anything like that. It's just understanding the fact that you want to genuinely help them come into an opportunity that you have, that you know is a great investment, that they can make money with you and your team. Yeah. So I realize that was like a very long, drawn out answer to your one question, but hopefully it helps.
Yeah, no problem. And Ernie, before I jump in, did you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, no, I think that's just brilliant, what you're sharing, and it's very helpful. I can give you a little example of something that I did, or something that I kind of went through just recently, in line with what you're saying. And, so I've been investing for a while, and I have a couple of people that approach me. And so, I think that your good reputation goes a long way, right? Other people see what you have done, and they want to know how they can be a part of it, right? So I happen to have a pretty good relationship in the medical industry. I don't know why I'm not a doctor, but I just recently had a doctor that approached me and wanted to know how she could make her money grow. And this was individual that probably fall into that first set of people that you mentioned, doesn't really know the market, doesn't, just wants that money to be worked. And so I got her into a project that I'm involved in. And we're coming to the end of that, and she was just happy. So now she referred one of her doctor friends who I don't happen to know. And so this other doctor came to me just this past week and said, hey, I've got $500,000 that I can invest today. Will you take my money? I'm a little busy. But at the same time, she kind of kept coming back. And so, it's just brilliant. And I think that people see that the value that you can provide them, they hear of what you're doing. And, if you're new in the business and you don't necessarily have a couple of projects under your belt, one thing that I did in the past when I got started was, when I had no experience, I showed them what I was pursuing and maybe shared some of the classes so they can, tune in and hear some of the classes that you're offering, or some of the experiences that Rob, has had. And they see the experience from other people that you're associated with. And I think that also builds confidence. Great stuff though. Thank you for sharing that, Bill. It was really, really good.
Ernie, one thing that you just said is that's how I got that jump start in the beginning. When I joined Seven Figure Flipping, I leveraged off of what other people were doing. And so people ask me all the time, like, that first person that you hired, why would they even come on board with you? You had no experience. You had flipped 2 houses. You had like a couple rentals. You had no track record, and somebody's going to leave their job and come work for you. And I said, well, what I did was I painted the picture of what my mentor was doing. And then the confidence and leadership skills that I had, I was confident that I could show them the vision and what I had planned, and they could see that future. Yeah. And so I think as a new investor, that's the key, is like really being able to be the visionary and be able to paint that picture for somebody and show them what you're planning on doing. And then if they have some trust in you, if they maybe know you or like you already, then they're investing in you. Like it's not necessarily your experience or that deal. Yes. And I'm a lender. Look, I'm a lender. Like I lend, I do hard money loans. I've lost money on deals before. And the people that when I invest in the deal and not the person, like I didn't know the person very well, or they had become recommended to me by somebody else, and it was just the wrong person to invest in, that's where I got burned. And so now I only invest, like if you send me an email or look me up or send me a message, I'm not investing in your deals. I invest in our mastermind members. Like I know who they are. I know who they're around. I know where they're spending their money and their time and all that stuff. So they get access to my money because I know that I'm investing in these folks that are doing, they're doing deals. I know I can see them. I can see who they're associating with and stuff like that. So I think it's really important. I think that's a great point. And the other side is when you can educate your lenders a little bit, like give them some value. I mentioned that I did a podcast with Bruce Norris. I think you guys both know Bruce. So I did a podcast with him that was about the market. And like, it was right when the coronavirus was hitting and we were trying to figure everything out. And so I shared that one. And I also shared one that I love listening to Brian Buffini podcast. And he did one that I thought was really powerful. So I shared both of those with my lenders and said, look, here's one where I interviewed an expert. And here's what he says. And here's another one where one of my mentors and somebody that I respect in the marketplace interviewed someone. And here's where I think we're probably going. And so that way you guys can get comfortable with it. So when you can share resources and information with those folks, like I think they really appreciate it. And then they can, it's not just you telling them what's going to happen. You're also sharing like some of the behind the scenes stuff of what you do. I love it. I love IRA custodian training content and stuff like that I can use with our lenders because when you tell them something, it sounds like a sales pitch. When somebody else tells them something, it's like, it makes sense. It's like when somebody tells my wife something that I already said, she'll be like, oh yeah, like, it's right here. Like you should absolutely do that. But when I say it, it's like, we're not doing that. It's like, so it's really, really pretty powerful. And I think you mentioned something, Ernie, which is referrals. And I think a lot of people miss that. Like, they're like, oh, I have $1 million of other people's money that I use in the business right now, but I really want to get to 2 million. The fastest way to get to 2 million is ask the people that already have $1 million with you, that know, like, and trust you, that you've been paying them for a long time, and they love it. Ask them if they know anybody who might be interested in doing what they're doing. Right. Like they go play poker with people, they go to dinner, they have lunch, they surround themselves with people that are just like them, and so they definitely know people who are interested. And I think we're just so afraid to ask for that and don't even think about it potentially in the lending space. Like, it's so funny because I was just at an event and a flipper asked me during a question and answer, asked me, how do I find wholesalers? And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like every wholesaler wants to be found. How do you find wholesalers? Like they're looking for you. Like you're complaining because you can't find enough wholesalers? Like this is crazy. The wholesaler would be begging for you. And if I go into a room full of people with money, they're going to say, man, I wish that I could find some more opportunities. Like, I'm a guy that has some money and I'm looking for deals. Like I have money sitting in my bank account right now that I would like to be lending out. Mm-hmm. Like people are out there that are looking for opportunities. They're looking for us. And we're sitting on the other side, like at another party somewhere else going, man, I wish we had some more lenders. Yeah, it's like when we were in high school and the girls are on one side and the guys are on the other and nobody's dancing. It's like, just where do those people hang out? Go over there. Be the only person at the party with people with money. Be the only flipper there. And so that's another thing that I recommend in the challenge is, where do the rich people hang out? Where do they live? If you can figure that out, the people with money, go hang out there. Like just go to that restaurant, ask the valet, go to that country club, play golf, like talk to the caddies. Like where do they hang out? Get in there. Like Ernie's out hanging out in front of the medical industry, in front of the hospital, holding the sign. Like, I got deals. Do you have any money? So like, where do the doctors hang out? Where do the dentists hang out? Those people don't have time and they got money and they want to make more of it. So anyway.
Hey, Bill, we got a question from Shellen Hutchinson. I don't know if you know the person or not, but
I know Hutch.
All right, cool. It says, what do you say to someone who has $1 million in their IRA but is reluctant to take it out right now because of tax implications? But they also want to invest in cash flow, right? I think a lot of people may be in this position where, they see the stock market is so hot right now, right? Although over the last couple of days it kind of went down. They might be saying, okay, we're kind of at the top, right? I should maybe start reinvesting someplace else. What do you say to those folks that maybe, in that position or have the IRA, but they don't want to hit the tax issues?
Well, it doesn't. First of all, if they have $1 million in their IRA, it doesn't matter where they put their IRA money. They're not getting cash flow inside their, like, outside of their IRA. So it's just not going to work. So if they want cash flow like in their bank account to use today off that 1 million, they're going to have to take it out. It doesn't matter where they put it afterwards. You're going to have to find some way to take it out. So I never recommend people take their money out of their IRA, but it depends on who this person is. So here's something that a lot of people don't know about IRAs and 401ks probably. If it's a Roth IRA, then they can take out all of their contributions tax-free. Like they already paid taxes on it on a Roth IRA up front. So they can take out all of their contributions. So they have a basis of contributions that they put in there. So all that money can come out tax-free. It's probably, if they have $1 million in there, I suspect that it's probably a traditional IRA. They're probably an older person if they have $1 million in there, or they were really, really smart with it early on. Because when I was growing up as a kid, I think the max that you could put in an IRA was like $1,500 a year. So the contribution side was probably pretty low. That was in the, I don't know, 90s, like mid to late 90s. And then it started going up and now it's 6,000 a year. So it's pretty hard to get a basis of $1 million. So they were probably pretty smart about how they grew it. But if they're older, then you can take distributions. Like you're going to have to pay tax on it, but you won't take a penalty. So I need a ton more information, first of all. But second of all, like the talk track is very easy. Like you're not getting cash flow outside of your IRA, regardless of where you put it. So if you need that and want that from your IRA, then you're going to have to take it out somehow. And maybe they can do so within the CARES Act right now. Maybe they've been impacted by COVID-19, and maybe they can take it out and not have to put it back in for a certain number of years. There's a lot of stuff inside the CARES Act with that. But like ultimately, if they just want to invest in a deal that provides cash flow and builds in the IRA, and they don't need to spend the money, then just self-direct the IRA. So they can self-direct it into the deal. But it sounds like if you're saying specifically for cash flow, like they're looking to put money in their pocket to spend and live off of, it's just not going to happen inside of an IRA. Now, if they're old enough where they can take distributions, then keep it in the IRA and distribute that money. So I talked to somebody recently who was 60. She's 65, and she can take distributions from her IRA. So she was talking about, she's getting some money from the sale of a house. She can take distributions from her IRA. And I said, look, you should actually invest in one of these apartment buildings with the cash that you're getting from your house in your taxable account, because you'll get the depreciation there, you'll get the cash flow, you'll get all of that stuff. And then also with the money that you have in your IRA, instead of taking the cash flow from the apartment buildings, you do a value add apartment that gives the depreciation, and then you take distributions from your IRA for that cash flow that you're looking for, because you're going to have to take those distributions at some point anyway. And she's getting Social Security, and her husband's getting Social Security too. So they have and so the depreciation from the K1 can offset their active income and the money that comes out of the IRA. So obviously, all of this stuff, like very individualized questions. As an operator, I wouldn't necessarily be giving like big tax advice and big advice to people about their $1 million IRA. I would send them to their CPA or a financial planner or somebody, but you can give them some help and some resources with it. I know enough to be dangerous with a lot of this stuff, because that's how I manage my money. I'm looking at the future. I'm helping, my parents and other people that come to me. And I do look at myself more of I'm going to consult with you, and I'm going to tell you what I would do if it was my money. And that's the conversation that what I had with one of my lenders. She said, what would you do if it was your money? Like I like the way that you treat your money. So what would you do? And I said, well, if I was your age and I was in your situation, this is what I would do. But I'm not a CPA, and I'm not a financial planner, and I'm not this and that. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about money.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, like keep it in the IRA. Maybe they have something else that can cash flow for them, and tell them that like cash flow is good inside of an IRA. Like it'll build up your IRA a lot faster. It's good.
And I think there's a lot of, number one, we're not, CPAs like you had mentioned. So always, check with your CPA and the legal advice, wherever you're at, right? Because we're across the country here. But I would say, there's a lot of different ways that you can do with your IRA, right? Like you mentioned, self-directed. Some of these things that we've talked about even today about, private money and IRA and, just in general. You have an event coming up here, because I know we're running here pretty long. You have an event that I think you'd be talking a lot about these different strategies in this event coming up, and that's Flip Hacking Live. And on top of that, you have some unbelievable, presenters that are going to be there. On top of, real estate, being a wholesale, being a flipper, but, some other people that'll be presenting at that event. Can you talk a little bit about the event? Who's the event for? And we talk about private money. Is there going to be someone there talking about private money? Is there going to be someone there talking about IRAs, right? Doing, convincing, not really convincing, but talking to someone, consulting someone from going from, I have $1 million in my IRA. Well, maybe you should move that into a self-directed IRA that then you can lend right out of your IRA, to people that are flipping and wholesaling and so forth. So
first of all, if anybody's got an IRA, 401k, educational savings account for their kids, health savings account, HSA, all that stuff. If you ever come across any of those folks, as a real estate investor that's looking for lenders, it is your job to talk to them and educate them about the opportunity that's available inside of real estate from those. So just go ahead and learn that strategy. And there are billions with a B, billions of dollars inside of IRAs just sitting on the sidelines waiting for your opportunity. So go out there and educate yourself on that, because that's where the majority of my money comes from. It's pretty rare that you find somebody that like Ernie has with $500,000 burning a hole in their bank account, right? So, but inside of an IRA, it's not uncommon to have somebody who has $1 million in their IRA. And they're probably like 60 years old, 55, 60 years old, smart with their money, has a retirement plan, an IRA, 401k, something like that, pension accounts if they're government workers or things that are huge. So first of all, just assume that is a given. Just go tell those people to put their money into real estate, self-directed, okay? And as far as the event goes, we have, I talked about this kind of opportunity. I read a book it's actually right when I joined Seven Figure Flipping, Rob. This was this book called Getting Money by Susan Lasser-Lyons. So I read this book and it changed the way that I thought about raising money. It allowed me to raise millions of dollars. And I think that was the catalyst to me being able to grow as fast as I did, was this like ease of raising money. And I've always liked talking about money. I always love it. Like I created this challenge. I spent so much time on this thing. It was, I don't know, I poured like almost a month of my life into creating this thing, but I'm so passionate about it. That's why we've been talking for 30 minutes. I can just talk nonstop about money. But she taught me these things. And I was planning on giving the presentation about money at the event at Flip Hacking Live. But I said, why not reach out to her? I had just done a podcast with her. And I said, why not just ask her if she'd be interested in doing it? Because why would you hear from me when you can hear from like the original money raising person who wrote the book, Getting the Money, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like let's hear it from the expert, the person who taught me a lot of the strategy that I use, right? So Susan Lasser-Lyons is her name. She wrote a book called Getting the Money, and she's going to be speaking at our event, Flip Hacking Live. So I'm really excited to hear from her. I did a podcast with her. I spent some time, talking with her. She's incredible person, easy to get along with, has raised millions and millions of dollars. And so she's going to talk about some of the strategies and the conceptual things to think about during her presentation. So I'm really excited to hear from her. And you asked who it's for. I think, and Hutch, by the way, if you're still on this video, it's for you and you better be there. But it's for anybody who's interested in real estate, frankly. Never doing a deal to doing hundreds of deals a year. Even if you're doing millions, easiest investment you'll ever make, because even a 5 or 10% tweak, one little idea will increase your business by 10, 20%. And that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And if you're just getting started, I think the benefit you have here is that there's something there's something to be said for seeing other people that are doing it. Like seeing is believing. And when you see somebody that looks like you, smells like you, talks like you, walks like you, that's doing something at a really high level, it gives you that permission and that confidence that you can do it too. And a lot of times that's all we need. We just need that belief. We need the belief to change. So I think that's what we provide at the event, is a change in belief, a change in mindset, to put people on display and show you that other people are doing it. It's not a fairy tale. It's not fake. It's the real deal. And these aren't professional speakers that are coming up. These are people that are real estate investors that we're putting on stage to share, and they don't know that they should be holding anything back. Like, they don't hold anything back. They just like, I didn't know that I should share my entire follow-up sequence that I've been using to increased my deal flow by 40% over the last year. Like, I didn't know that I shouldn't give away my script that it took me a year to create with tens of thousands of dollars of cold calling experience. Like, I didn't know that I shouldn't give that away. And it's not somebody at the end who's selling like a big their own course or anything like that, and where they're going to give you half of it. It's really just the fact that everybody that goes on stage is required to. Hutch, yes, that is a direct order. He said. So Hutch is a Marine. He's a Marine that I know, and so he's calling me sir. I don't appreciate that. Yeah, Hutch is a direct order. You need to go to flippackinglive.com right now and grab your tickets. And so I'll say that this event is really for anybody. My parents were there for the first year last year, and I think it was interesting hearing from my mom on the third day when she said that they know nothing about real estate. They were just there to support me. They were in the first or second row, just taking notes, hanging out, shaking hands and stuff. And she just said that this has kind of motivated me to do more in my life. And I thought it was interesting to see the impact that a real estate event could have on my parents, who are basically not interested in real estate at all, like flipping houses or anything. And they just everybody is going to go there. You're going to go there searching for something, and you're going to get something else. Like, hopefully you get that thing that you're looking for, but what I hope that you walk out of is that thing that you don't know that you need. And because if you knew what you needed right now, you would already have it. Like, if you knew what you need, you'd be successful. You'd be doing it. You'd be doing it at a high level. You'd be reaching your goals. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what you need. Like, the reason that I think it's so powerful when I show up at these events, and I travel around, and my goal is to go to 3 to 4 events a year. And primarily I'm scouting out speakers and locations and the way that they handle their event and stuff like that, because I'm practicing what I preach. I'm hacking the pros. Like, I want to see what other people's events are like and take the best of it so I can have the best event in the world. And what I get from those events sometimes is just, I expected to go in there, like, getting a better like check-in process, or like what kind of giveaways do they have, or speakers. And I come out with like just one life-changing comment that one of the speakers made. And all 3 of the speakers that I have, so I have 3 keynote speakers, so like paid speakers that come, they're not involved in real estate at all. And last year I had 2, this year I have 3. I've seen them all, and every single one of them has changed my life, and I want other people to experience that too. And so I've been waiting for 3 years to bring 2 of these people to the event. Because I heard them 3 years ago, and every year I'm like, can I figure out how to fit? Like, does their message match what we need right now? Mm-hmm. And their message right now is the most timely message that I can give to you. The gift that I can give to you at this event is their message. And so those 2 speakers that nobody knows of, nobody's heard of, and one of them I'm not sharing with anybody. There's only 2 people that know who it is, because if you Googled them ahead of time and researched them, the message wouldn't land the way it's going to land when they show up for the first time.
So those are 2 speakers you haven't announced yet then?
There's one that I haven't announced. There's both of them I haven't really announced. One of them is on the website. His name's Kevin Brown. Okay. But the other one I haven't announced, and I won't announce. Like, I'm paying this person a lot of money to come. And most people would leverage that to market and sell stuff. Yeah. But I care more about the people who have already bought tickets that will get the experience of me not telling you who this person is than using them to sell tickets. So hopefully that gives you a little idea about I don't know, maybe some of my values or how we approach this event. It's a lot more about the attendees' experience than it is about selling 5,000 tickets.
So Sean is definitely curious on this person.
Oh, everybody is. Everybody's been asking me. I've been getting, every time I mention this, they're like, oh, can you tell me something? Today I gave away like half the population I cut out, so you have a better guess. Today on my Flip Hacking Friday call, I said it was a guy. So so I kind of hurt myself there. So now you can start guessing if you want. But even there's only 3 people that know, and I'm keeping it at that pretty much, because it's way more impactful if you just hear the presentation.
Who are those people, so I can go and maybe bribe them a little bit?
And it's in the vault.
Yeah, no, and you know, a couple of people that you've had in the past, Walter Bonds, who I've met, right? Unbelievable presenter, motivational speaker. He has really touched my life in so many ways. You know, the private money woman, Sharon, her book is definitely influenced me. So you're bringing people into this event that are truly high level, presenters, but also give you a different aspect. And you talked about it, and I talked about it right at the beginning of the show. If you remember, it's that aha moment that you have, that kind of something switches in your brain and it says, wow, I can do that, right? It kind of is enablement for you. And that's what these events do, right? So for the money that you're spending, or for the person that's buying the ticket, it is so well worth it. I know we're not in person, so it might feel a little bit different, but everybody is at a point that they understand Zoom calls or they understand this video thing, and you will get a lot out of it, by going to this event, even more so, I think, from a standpoint of being live, because now you can interact people, in the audience, outside of the audience, talking to them, even on a one-on-one basis, the way you're setting up this whole Flip Backing Live event. So.
Yeah, let me touch on that, because a lot of people are kind of Zoomed out, they're webinared out, they're Facebook Live out. I mean, we're on a Facebook Live, we're on a video, we're on a Zoom, right? And this is pretty much what we do all day. It's become our new life, right? And it's, if you don't like it, it's been my life for like the last 3 years. I run a virtual company ever since I started 5.5 years ago. It's all been virtual. Everything's been done on Zoom, on video calls. The mastermind group has been there, but we have had live events to couple with it, right? And so now pretty much that's it. And people are like, well, I just don't, like 3 days of like a webinar of somebody talking at me is really not something I'm looking to buy right now, right? And I get it. I totally understand that. Now, let me tell you, and people are still approaching me like, oh, I wish it was live. I would come live. But like, you don't want the event that I could put together live. Like, you don't want it. It's sitting 6 feet apart. It's wearing masks. It's taking your temperature on the way in. It's massive security. It's no buffets. It's no eating. None of the restaurants are open. It's no shaking hands. It's no high-fiving. It is not the event that you think that I can put together today. It's just not. Like, I can't put 1,000 people in a room in Orlando, Florida like I wanted to. And cool. Like, okay, so now what's the next best thing that I can give you? The same great content, provided a different way, a different medium. So what we're going to do, so my question is like, what are you really going to these events for? Like, what is the reason that you go to these events? Is it to talk in the network outside the bathroom? And that's probably part of it, right? So then now, how do I add that in so that you can still get that? And we have that. Like, we have networking sessions that we've set up. We've had Q&A. We have one-on-one like laser coaching sessions with Andy McFarland, with Adam Ray, Jeremiah Johnson, Mike Simmons, like some of the bigger players that we have. You can sign up for 15 minutes of their time, one-on-one. Like, we're doing things here that we wouldn't be able to do in person. Right. And so we're able to provide something that's different than what we could do in person. I totally admit that. It's not a live event, right? But it's as close to a live event presentation style as we can. I'm also paying all these keynote speakers that I've talked about more money to fly to a studio that we built out in North Carolina to present from stage. Like, Walter is flying to North Carolina to stand on stage and present from stage. And just so you guys know, it's a lot cheaper to have him at his house presenting from the room, right? But I want you to feel that. I want that energy to come out. I want it to be a live event that we're streaming to you. So I'm going to be live. Yeah. Andy McFarland's going to be there live. Mike Simmons is going to be there live. I'm flying in some of the keynote speakers to be there live. And so we have a studio. We have a backdrop. You're not going to see my backdrop here in my office. This is my office studio. I'm flying out to North Carolina, and we're going to put this event on. We also have a dashboard. We have custom software built out for this, so that we're going to play some games. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a point system where we're going to create a experience for you. I have like 10 TVs set up for each Zoom room. So I can see, and Walter can see, and the keynote speakers and everybody speaking can see every single person on screen. Like, it's like I'm in the audience. I can see the audience. So it's really cool what we're doing. We're not building out the $2 million studio that Tony Robbins did, but we do have the same event planners as him. So we're doing some really cool stuff. And I think it's much more than that. It is going to be a 3-day event. I attended one of these with the same event planner. I actually bought tickets for me and my staff to go, so we could actually watch and we could see what we liked, what we didn't like, fine tune it and understand it. At the end of the 3rd day, it wasn't even something that I do. And I was like, man, I want another day of this. And I don't know. I'm kind of like a closet introvert. So the introverts are going to love it. The extroverts they're going to have a good time. If you're an extrovert, you might be missing people at the end of it, but we're going to do networking sessions. We have breakout sessions where you can get to know some folks. I can't in the beginning of my keynote, in the very beginning of the presentation, I can't say, all right, everybody, 3 of you get together and talk and answer these questions and get to know each other. And then, oh, by the way, I want you to go do that again in a couple more hours. But in this case, I can go put 3 people in a room and put other 3 more people in a room, put 3 people in a room. And then I can suck you all back in after 3 or 4 minutes so that your attention's on me and you're not talking to each other anymore. And we can't do that in person. So there's a lot of stuff that we can't do in person that we can do this way, which I think is, I don't know, it's a totally different way of looking at events. And if you're expecting the live event experience that you get, then I'm not going to meet your expectations. But but I'm telling you right now, at the end of this event, let's just put it this way. At the end of this event, if you show up all 3 days, you take notes. And at the end of the 3 days, you're there, you got your notes, and you say, this was not worth $397 or $497 or whatever you end up paying for it. The prices are going to go up over time. You can email me directly and I will personally write you a check. You send me your notes. You say, this wasn't for me. I will personally send you a check. Like, that's how much I believe in this. I attended this event and I spent more than that for me individually. I bought tickets for 4 of us and I was in awe of what they could do and what's possible. And our lineup is insane. Like, if I just go through these speakers, like from the real estate side, Ryan Smith is a guy who does all this niche marketing all over the country for other investors. He's going to talk about the next marketing channels going forward that are going to be big that you can prepare for now. Chris Logan is going to talk about virtual wholesaling. These guys have just opened up like 4 new markets inside the last 3 or 4 months, and they're killing it on the virtual side. They did an awesome cold calling presentation. Andy McFarland, this guy's absolute. I don't even care what he talks about. Anything that he says is gold. I'm sure that everybody will agree with that. Chad King is my sales trainer. He's going to talk about sales. We're already inside of our Facebook group right now doing some cool exclusive stuff for the people that have tickets. We're going to talk about productivity and how you can get time back. If you have an excuse right now that says, I don't have enough time, then that 30-minute presentation will change the way that you look at how you spend your time. And so I've got a productivity expert that's going to come in and talk about how you actually do have more time. Stephanie Betters is going to have an amazing presentation about being an entrepreneur and being a mom and also working in the medical field. Like, how do you balance it all? And that's something that we never talk about. Like, people struggle with it, but they're not necessarily open and vulnerable about it. Jesse Trujillo is a flipper in San Diego. And if you say that your market is too expensive, too overpriced, you can't find deals, this guy is doing 80 deals a year, 80 flips a year in San Diego, and he's not spending any money on marketing. So he's going to show you how to network and not spend money on marketing and stuff. These guys, Ernie and Rob are going to be there talking about what they do, talking about probate, inheritance, skip tracing, all that stuff. Like, they're going to have, I have 6 different sessions that they can open up a room where you can ask them questions. Like, how valuable is that? And then there's other people that are doing the same thing. Like, it's in different areas. I got a hard money lender. I've got people, like, access to other people that are in my network that you can ask questions to, and like basically like trusted advisors in different areas. So I don't know. I could spend the next hour talking about this, but if you're not convinced at this point, then you should probably just like shut it down, turn it off, and you're probably not serious about success. Like, you've got to invest in yourself, and this is the best investment in yourself that you can make. And the deal that these guys are offering is probably, I don't know, it's definitely the best I've ever seen, and it really doesn't even cost you anything to go to the event. So you should probably just stop right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the deal, I guess now would be a good time, if any, then to talk about it. So as Bill talked about, the event is $397 for the ticket purchase. But as people that really want you to go, Ernie and myself, Probate Fox and Lead Fusion, we're throwing in $300 in skip tracing. So basically, the ticket's going to cost you $97 just to go for all of this information, because you're going to use that $300. You're going to get that free $300 worth of skip tracing, and we send you a coupon code after the fact and all that stuff. So a lot of people, obviously, in Bill's group use skip tracing. Some of the people on this, obviously, even outside of Bill's group, use Lead Fusion as skip tracing services. and know how valuable that is just in and itself. But on top of that, we got the Probate Fox online here, and he's thrown in a quick start course to getting starting in probate. So a lot of people know that Ernie and I teamed up to start selling. We've been selling probate lists and inheritance lists across the country, nationwide. And so we're offering a quick start guide in probate, which is just a little bit more than, we're handing you a PDF book, right? Ernie, you want to go through that just real quick?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've made a life career out of probate. I'm passionate about probate. Probate is a market that I love so much because it really allows you to have a personalized conversation, relationship with the people that you're working with. And I'm a people person, so this has been a good niche for me. It's amazing. Today during COVID, the probate segment has just opened up so much more. I mean, we have quite a few of your members in the 7FF group who are members here with the probate group, and we get call after call every single week about the things that they're doing. We celebrate virtually, high five them over the phone, but we're going to share not only how they can participate in the inherited list, but also in the probate list. And those are two separate lists that we offer to our group. Essentially, people who have passed away and those that are left behind to dispose of the real estate. These people legitimately need help. And so we have a fast action course for people to get them started in this business as well.
Okay. So we have that. We have the $300 in skip tracing. We got the quick start. And then Bill has been nice enough to throw in 4 hours of Andy McFarland seller financing, which is unbelievable value in terms of just what you can learn in his approach to getting the seller to do some seller financing, which is absolutely incredible. And then on top of that, Flip Hacking Live, you took the best of the best from previous years, 2016 to 2019. And you're giving away as well. So you get the $300 in skip tracing, you get the probate, quick start, you get the $495 in Andy McFarland videos, $995 for the previous Flip Hacking Live events for $397. So call me crazy, Bill. Is that crazy, or should I just give up?
Yeah, it's crazy. And you put Andy McFarland's at $495. We used to sell that for $1,500. So those 4 hours we used to sell for $1,500. And that, by the way, that stuff is, I'm talking, this is subject to, this is owner financing, like paid off property where the owner holds back the notes. He talks about 4 different modules. So it's sub 2 if you're buying as a rental, sub 2 if you're buying as a flip, owner carrier for buying it as a rental, owner carriers are buying it as a flip. And he's got his paperwork in there, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that thing is what I use to train my sales reps on. And if you right now, it works great in the seller's market. This is a strategy that works even better in a buyer's market. Like when you have those tools and that strategy in the place that we're going potentially, like we know that every market goes down, right? I think we can all agree the fact that it is going to go down. It's not if, it's when. And this is going to be incredibly powerful information that you have. And so we set that up where you have it inside of a membership site. And then I took those videos from 2016, 2017, 18, and 19, and I only included the ones that are still current, like the things that you can still watch and implement and add value to your business today. So I actually took the time to remove all the ones that from 2016 that it's just not a strategy that we use anymore. So you're not wasting a bunch of time going through what's working and what's not working. And so, I mean, a couple hours of just going through there and stripping it down to just the stuff that you want right now, because I know that your time is valuable and so is mine. So you don't need to watch stuff that, like, anything that you watch in there, you'll get some information from that you can execute on today.
Yeah, and for people that are listening to this, you can go to the link I just posted, which shows up on YouTube, but also on Facebook. There's a link on there, leadpages.grouppages.com//FHL tickets. That'll take you to the landing page where you can go and look at it, and also go and buy purchase the tickets. You have to use the promo code probate, again, probate for the promo code, and you'll get all of this deal. So
hey, Rob, talk through that real quick. So when you go to that site, it'll say get tickets, and then there's an add a promo code. So click on add promo code. You add the promo code in there because it goes to the Eventbrite site that we use, right?
Yeah.
Rob? Okay. So when you go add promo code, you type in probate, and what it'll do is it'll unlock a secret ticket. that nobody else will see. So right here, you can see the general admission tickets, and then you'll have to click on enter promo code right there above general admission ticket. You add in, unlock a secret ticket, and that way we know to give you all these bonuses from us.
Yeah, so when you go off and do this, this is what pops up, and then this is the one where you want to select your tickets to purchase, and this is the promo code, like you had said, that includes all this. Now, we don't mention the probate offering because that was brand new, but yeah, the $300 skip tracing, the videos are in here, but the probate offering, the quick start course is definitely in there as well. But yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. Make sure you enter that probate promo code. So good point, Bill, because I think some people, we do get a lot of questions on that, like how can I get this, right? And that's how you do it. Great.
And I'll say there's, like, we have some other things that we've done with promo codes and working with other people, but I don't see anybody giving out $300 in skip tracing that you were going to spend already. So if you're if you are skip tracing or you're going to skip trace lists, like, absolutely, this is a great way to do it. And I really appreciate these guys putting that together. I mean, they're stacking value on top of our value. So it's really cool. Like, I love that stuff. So there's no, and then if you don't like it and you take a bunch of notes and you send me an email at the end, I'll just figure out how to give you more money. So you can really take advantage of all of our generosity, right? So look, I'm looking for people who are interested in this. They're excited to show up. They want to be a part of it. And this is an opportunity for you. I think you really need to decide, like, in the beginning of this conversation, Rob mentioned the fact that that I had stepped up and done more for the seven-figure flipping community, and that's why I became the COO. And when I look at all of that, it's like, why did I have the opportunity to buy this company that I didn't start? I'm kind of like the hair club for men guy, right? I'm the guy who was a client and now I'm the owner, right? So for me, I feel like it was just putting myself in the place that when that opportunity comes up, you're there and you can see it and you're ready for it. Like, if he had asked me a year before, the answer would have been absolutely no. The year before that, I was even considering, like, I remember in San Diego a couple years before, I was like, look, I'm either going to play a much bigger part in the fulfillment of this event. So that was at Flip Hacking Live. We had San Diego. We were down in Coronado. And after that event, I went to Justin. I said, look, I'm either going to play more of a part of this event on the membership side, like the fulfillment side of our events and things like, or I'm leaving, because it's just not I think we can do a lot better for our members and our people. And Ernie, I think, in fact, that's the first time that I met you was at that event right there in San Diego, there at the pool. I remember talking with you, and I was like, man, just blown away by your knowledge and information on the subject. And at the end of that event, I felt like we could do a lot better. And so, I mean, I put myself in these positions to see opportunity and seize it and just try to figure out how to make it better and better and better over time. And now, obviously, it's my job now to make sure that it's as good as possible. And we're fulfilling, like, we have the best program that we possibly could. And I won't say the best program out there. And I won't say that we're better than any other mastermind group or anybody else. And because there might be a better place for you, like, specifically, we are for a certain people, and we're not for people too. Like, I'd say go find a peer-to-peer network, go find somebody that can help you, go find other people to mastermind with. It might be us, it might not. I don't think that we're perfect for everyone. I won't say that. And but that opportunity is important, and you have an opportunity right now. Like, you're being handed this opportunity on a silver platter by these two gentlemen here, right? And it's a great opportunity. And so the question is, like, are you going to take it, or are you going to say, well, maybe I'll check out next year? Like, I don't know if I really want to do it, and maybe you're just not serious about the business. Like, there's a lot of things that have to happen to become successful in real estate. Having a strong why, believing in yourself, investing in yourself, and being confident is part of it. And so that's step one. Just take that first step, come to the event. We'll pour that confidence into you. You'll see it. And then you'll decide, do I want to take the next step or not? So I think, with 3 weeks left, this is your opportunity. Pretty soon. Oh, by the way, we're also sending out a box of a bunch of stuff to you, which actually cost more than the amount of difference that you're paying for this event. So it costs us more to send it to you than you're paying for the event after the skip tracing. So, we only have like another week before we start able to ship those boxes out to get it to you beforehand. If you jump in after that, but before the event, we'll still get you a box. It'll just be after the event. So I want to make sure that I get those to you. I want to make sure that I know how many people are coming, and I want to make sure you take the opportunity. So don't wait. Go grab your ticket.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah, I love it. Love it, Bill.
It's going to be fun. You guys are going to have a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, we're like you said, we're going to be there definitely, and so we're really excited about it. I know the level of presenters that are there, right? I know them personally. I know all the people that you mentioned, earlier, that are coming in and going to be on stage. I know what their integrity is, number one, right? To me, that is paramount in this business, is having integrity. And number two, I know the knowledge and what they can offer in terms of value to people coming to this event, and it is definitely the best value, in terms of those people showing up. And then on top of that, the other speakers that you have announced and haven't announced, more importantly. So I think is exciting in itself. So those out there still listening and everything, you definitely want to get a hold of these tickets. And like Bill said, we certainly want you to sign up because we know it's such a great event. We want to give you skip tracing services, on top of it, and all this great offer. The Probate Fox, Ernie Vargas here giving you basically a quick start class to probate. How to get it. He has over 23 years experience in probate. Not a lot of people. He was cold calling before cold calling was cool over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So, he knows so much, and that's why I partnered up with him, right? To bring even more value in what we do. And I posted, leadfusionlist.com, the probate list that we do, the inheritance list are all fully skip traced. And we do that for a reason, right? We give you many ways to market to those people. Not only mailing, which a lot of people do mailing for probate, and that's perfectly fine. But some people do like to text and also call those folks as well, because they're at a time in their life where they need to sell the property. And our lists only come with property behind it. We don't sell you leads to sell you leads. We sell you a lead because it is fully vetted in terms of having real estate behind it. So anyways, Bill, hey, I want to thank you for coming on today. Ernie, I don't know if we had anything else to talk about, but that was certainly unbelievably packed in terms of the value, raising private money, and talking about your sphere influences and really the three types of people that are open to investing with you in that private money, right? That they bring to the table. Your friends and family. The stock investor type, right, is kind of the level 2, and then you have that level 3 person that is that hard money person, right? That is kind of a little bit of a seasoned investor. They understand what points are and everything. But the big thing you want to pull away from here is don't be afraid, right? Start talking to people about what you do in terms of private, in terms of what you want to do in your wholesaling and your flipping. And once you start telling people your story through those relationships, the private money is going to come in. You really have to start talking about what you do as well. All right.
And I will say one last thing. The gifts actually don't end there. Because if you buy a ticket, right, then you're going to get this goodie bag that Bill talked about. Well, in that goodie bag, there's going to be some information about spending some time with Rob and I in one of those breakout sessions. And we've got more gifts to give you that are even over and beyond the free skip tracing, over and beyond the Fast Start course. We've got more gifts, but you'll only know what those gifts are is if you buy a ticket, because you'll get a chance to get those gifts at the booth. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. So basically, we're offering you a free ticket. I'm not going to say what the other values are, but exactly. We definitely want to show up. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And Ernie, I forgot about that. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, there's definitely going to be even more to that we bring to the party, let's just say, or the event.
Hey, before I go, the only thing that I can think about right now is you said Ernie has been doing this for 23 years and he's been cold calling even before it was cool. All I can think about is him on like a rotary phone, like, like ring, 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 like,
oh yeah,
3, 2, 3. Oh man, it's
I remember the first time that I went to the 7FF breakout session, right? And Andy was in our room and I was talking to the group about cold calling. I think my segment was only supposed to be about like 15 or 20 minutes. I think I was on there for about an hour talking about cold calling, and Andy was like, keep going, because so we're excited to just kind of hear what you guys got out there going on, and to share some good times with the group at these breakout sessions as well. So
all right, well, thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for showing up today. Really appreciate it. Again, I think a lot of value was dropped here in terms of private money, and even extending to that, right? How can you now learn even more? And a great opportunity at Flip Backing Live. So Bill, I want to thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And Ernie, as always, thanks for being the best partner in the world. Do really appreciate it. All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, gentlemen, happy Friday and have a great weekend.